I cried like a baby in my car this morning, and honestly, I did, in fact, need a nap. This is the part that is a bit TMI, and if you know me or you talk to me in person, like, we're not going to talk about this part. Okay, I'm going to talk about this, but, like, we're not going to talk about this in person. About a year and a half ago, I noticed that I was starting to have some discharge from one side, and the color was the alarming part. It was like a dark black, like almost green. It was very odd, and I was like, that's not normal. I went to my primary care doctor, and they ordered a mammogram and an ultrasound, which I tried to schedule, and it was going to be like 4 to 6 weeks. And I ended up kind of crowdsourcing and finding a friend of mine is friends with a breast radiologist. So I went like 2 counties away. I drove like an hour and a half. She was wonderful. Her whole team was wonderful. And I had the imaging done and it was negative, but she still recommended that I move on to the MRI because of those symptoms are specifically concerning for something. Ended up having my knee surgery right after, and I was in a metal brace, so MRI was out of the question. And I honestly would not have been able to lay in that position after my knee surgery for a while. And then we had the house flood, and life has just been lifing. And the symptoms kind of went away. Like, and I wear dark sports bras, so it's not something that I was noticing. And then a couple months ago, it returned, and I went to my GYN, and she is just an incredible human as well. And she said, let's take care of this. Let's start over. And so we repeated the mammogram and the ultrasound, which I did the beginning of September. Those were normal, negative, but considered inconclusive because of the symptoms. Moved on to the MRI, which I had done 2 weeks ago, some time ago, and it was negative. But again, somewhat inconclusive because you still don't know where the discharge is coming from. I'm still having the symptom. And so I needed something called like a ductogram, where they inject into the specific duct where it's coming from, and then they do other imaging like a mammogram and an ultrasound, and then there's the potential to do a biopsy. And so I went this morning. The nurse in the morning was amazing. She put the cream on to numb everything up, and then I went and I was, laying on this weird thing and exposed, and the doctor was trying to get the discharge out so that he could figure out where to put the little probe in, and nothing was happening. And it was a couple minutes that he couldn't get anything to come out, and then he just said, listen, if the discharge starts again, and it's still going, you just can't get it out, and so if it starts again, come back and we'll do the test again. And so I went back and I got changed again, and immediately I was like, it's there, like, here it is. And I went and I told them, and I showed them, and they kind of looked at me like I was crazy. And they're like, yeah, we're just going to keep going with the same plan. Just come back if it gets worse, I guess. Which was really frustrating to me because I'm really terrible at advocating for myself, and I finally did try to stand up and whatever. So I did not get any sleep last night, and so I went to my car and I just lost it. I was struggling, and I feel very frustrated. I feel like they don't believe me, which is the universal experience as a woman. I don't really know what the plan is, but I trust my GYN. She's incredible, and whatever she says, I will do. So here we are. We don't have any answers, but my gut feeling is that everything's okay. I just would love to be able to prove that.